There's a phase in business growth that nobody talks about, and it is not the exciting beginning, and it is not when you've become stable and successful. It is the space in between. It's that space or that phase where you have stopped pretending to maybe do this, or you're like, I really want to, but I'm not quite sure. You're all in now. You're at that phase where you're really all in, but you really haven't seen the results yet. You haven't gotten to a point where you feel that this is a sure thing, that you can do this, that this is a success for you. You haven't really seen the benefits yet. And this phase can be so deeply uncomfortable that it almost hurts. It can. Sometimes it actually does hurt a little bit. So if your business feels a little bit like that right now, maybe it feels uncertain, it feels heavy, then this video is for you. Because when people talk about authentic business growth, they a lot of the time just skip straight to the outcome. More alignment, it's easier, your clients resonate with you more, and you have more clarity for yourself and for your business as well. But they tend to leave out the transition, because the important part here is that authenticity isn't just a flip that you switch. It's a process. It's something that you're going through. It's something that you need. There's so many things to starting living a more authentic life and also running a more authentic business. It's not just like that. It's more of a lot of small steps that at some point it feels like that, but in the process, there's so many steps to take, and there's so many small adjustments, and we do a lot of steps and then we fall a little bit back, and then we do. So it's kind of sometimes feels a bit like 2 steps forward, 1 step backwards. It's a process that you move through, and it can feel awkward, unstable, and just like frustrating. It's this phase where there's things that you're no longer willing to do, willing to compromise on. You're not willing to do things the old way, but you're not quite at a place where you know what the new way is yet, or you're not quite there yet to do everything in the new way or that authentic way that you aspire to do. And that creates a disconnect, right? That connects that hardship that it ends up being a little bit. That simply is the uncomfortable phase and the uncomfortable truth of making a decision that has such a huge impact, both personally and in your business. Okay, so let me describe it a little bit more, because if you're in it, you will recognize this fairly fast. So growth is probably slowing down. Decisions take longer to make because all of a sudden you need to put them up against a new set of values, maybe a new you, that everything needs to be measured up towards something new. So you can't make decision on autopilot anymore. So they just take longer. And in the beginning and in this middle of the process, you also question yourself more for that exact reason, that you need to make sure that things align with who you want to be, the person you're striving to be, the business that you're striving to have. So that takes more time as well. The things that used to feel easy, they now can feel wrong. And the things that, on the other hand, feels right with all of these new things doesn't necessarily feel safe because you've not tried it before. And it's way easier to just like fall back into the old, not so, well, feeling more safe, but really like not being where you want to go. So you might feel less excitement about things that used to encourage you, or used to celebrate the wins, the things that you used to be happy about, and the things that used to motivate you. You might feel more sensitivity towards misalignment, and you might feel a small resistance towards scaling things that don't feel aligned anymore, which makes sense, right? The thing is that nothing is technically broken, but everything ends up feeling a little bit wrong or a little bit off. And the important thing is that that is not a sign of failure. And I really want you to hear this. This is not you failing. This is a sign of transition. We are transitioning into who we want to be, what we want our business to be in the future. And yes, it takes time, it takes effort, It takes blood, sweat, and tears, but it's important, right? The reason this phase is so uncomfortable is really because the old strategies and habits, they stop working, or we put a stop to them before the new strategies and habits take over or have time to get into a routine. So we're in this limbo of we're not in the old anymore, but we're also not in the new yet, which can be very, very frustrating. The thing is that you have outgrown performing and over optimizing things to get approval. That's the 80% I keep talking about, as well as chasing momentum on the cost of energy. So we want to preserve the energy, right? To be ourselves, to be authentic. And you haven't yet built that deep self-trust that we usually have in our own decision making, and that we have based on years and years and years of limiting beliefs a lot of the time, and on how we just know things usually are. But with the new decisions we've made, they're not that anymore. So we're lacking that deep self-trust. We still haven't built that clear internal decision making where it's become habit that you go towards the new habits and the new intentions. It just hasn't become a habit yet. And you might also not yet have gotten to the point where your business structure actually supports the business you want to run and the person you want to be. So that can be super frustrating as well. And that takes time. So basically you are standing between two identities, and that always feels uncomfortable. And it really doesn't matter where in life, whether it's between like big life changes or in your personal life or your business life, not feeling really at home in one or the other, being in this liminal phase is super uncomfortable. And the thing is, our nervous system really want stability, right? But big changes like this require ambiguity. It requires us to step outside the comfort zone, to change, to do something, to reach better goals. And that is why this phase also feels a lot heavier in the beginning, because the further we get, the more our body, our nervous system, our mind gets used to that new way of being, that new mindset, those new values, those new rules to live by. So here's where most people actually go wrong in this process. They think that something is wrong when they're in this phase of the process. They think that if this was working, it really wouldn't feel this uncomfortable. So they go back to the old strategies, they abandon the values just for now, or they start chasing external validation again. And this is not because they want to, this is because all the discomfort, it feels like danger to the body and to the mind. So it's also a subconscious reaction. This is why when we're in this phase and when we're making these changes, we really need to be awake, in lack of a better word for it. We need to be very aware of our own mindset and our own thoughts, so we don't slide back unconsciously or without realizing it in old habits. The important thing is to remember that this isn't a warning phase. This is a recalibration phase. We are relearning. We are rewiring ourselves into something new, into something better. And it takes time. Actually, this phase is teaching you something critical. It is slowing you down so that you can make cleaner decisions and so that you can separate what's true for you from just doing what everybody else does because it's working for them. But just because something is working doesn't mean that it's authentic to you, and it doesn't mean that it feels right to you. And sometimes it takes time to know the difference. And it can be uncomfortable because you're no longer carried by momentum. You're asking yourself actually to build stability and build for the future. And that takes awareness. That takes you focusing on you and your business and development. This is when your business stops being run by who you needed it to be and who you thought you needed it to be, and being run by who you really are and the person you really want to be, not who society and everybody else wants you to be, but who you want you to be. So if you're here right now, if this feels like you, then remember You are not stuck. You are not behind. And you are not doing things wrong. You're just in the middle. And this is where clarity is being forged, not found. You need to do the work to forge it. It doesn't just come on its own. You need to do the work. So the video tomorrow is going to be the book club video. So we're going to talk about chapter 2 of Fail Fast, Fail Often. But after that, I want us to talk about the mistakes that most people make when in this phase, because it's subtle and it often feels logical. And it's one of the reasons a lot of people and businesses stall in this phase and never really get to where they want to go. If this resonates with you, then stay with me here. Click subscribe. It's going to matter. It's going to be amazing. And I'm just going to say, have an absolutely fucking exciting day. It's going to be amazing.